If you want to learn something about God, shut your mouth and listen to me for a minute.
Many children healed. We've seen midgets grow. We've seen arms and legs that stop growing because the growth cells have stopped. Manda da basata. I don't make this stuff up.
Behold the atheist's nightmare.
That's the power of the Holy Ghost!
Why do they teach every other theory in science except creation?
Warlocks are enemies of God.
No one's ever going to convince me that the Word of God is not true.
You know, if you put Jesus Christ first, that he'll look after all your bills.
And so the devil said, okay, it's a deal.
And if you want to tell me how to live my life, it better line up with the Word of God or shut your mouth.
I'm loaded. I'm pregnant with miracles.
What do you believe?
Send us the cash.
Nambaran Babsada. Welcome to the Bible Dumb Podcast.
What was that?
It's the gibberish that guy says. Can't make that shit up.
Oh.
This is the podcast where two atheists read the Bible. I'm Davy Hell.
I'm Jesse Hell. What's wrong with you?
Nothing. I'm normal.
You are not normal today.
All right. Well, welcome to another chapter of Bible Dumb Podcast, where we are beginning a whole new book. Kind of.
Second book of Samuel.
Second book of Samuel.
Yeah, we got some stuff to talk about first, though.
Okay. What do you got?
We went and saw Heretic last night.
Awesome movie.
Very good movie.
Highly recommend.
Absolutely. There were some concerning moments in it for me, though.
What's that?
Well, not so much for me, but for the rest of the world. Okay.
Spoilers.
So, no, there are no spoilers. No
okay.
spoilers. Okay, but about.
Wait. Let me give the premise of the movie.
Sure.
So, the movie's called Heretic. Stars Hugh Grant. He plays a creepy guy who has two Mormon missionaries visit his home. And this is all in the trailer, so I don't feel like it's spoilers. But he locks them in and decides he's going to test their faith. And
Yes.
it's a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And it starts out, or the character, Hugh Grant's character is Mr. Reed. And I think it's like takes 30 minutes or something for him to get on screen. But for the first about 20 minutes that he's on screen, I kind of started thinking, it's kind of like, it's a little bit like Davy.
What do you mean? How so?
Everything from the shit-eating grin to tricking people into confessing that their religion is stupid.
I see.
But in a nice and polite way, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Very nice and polite way.
I'm a nice, polite guy.
Then after about 20 minutes, it kind of takes a turn, and he gets a little meaner, and I thought, oh, no. And then once, I won't mention anything else, but then once we got to the Radiohead section, I thought, oh crap, this is what happens to Davy if I die.
Yeah, I can see that. I might go off the deep end a little bit. Plus, I do kind of have a little mental breakdown of what do you call it? Like, not incessant, but I become incensed whenever I hear a song that has ripped off another song.
Yes. That was the point in the theater where I leaned over to you and said, "Is this you?"
A little bit. Except I like to think no spoilers.
No spoilers. No. But that is the warning to anybody who sees the movie. Should anything happen to me, please do a welfare check on Davy. Make sure he's doing all right. Not doing anything evil.
Yeah, I could use that for sure. All right. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I can see that. Well, I do. I mean, it is. I do have those feelings of like, you don't really believe this shit. I know you say you do. I know you go to church every Sunday and you sing your little songs and you pretend like you do, but you don't. You don't believe anything in this book.
No. Well, I mean, maybe
you're LARPing. You're just role playing as that Moses can turn wood to snakes. You don't really believe that stuff. I don't know why you do it or why you cling so fervently to these scriptures, but I'm not buying it. And I'll prove it.
And when we have issues like what you were just showing me, a news headline about Texas schools now implementing Bible teachings in elementary classes in public schools, you have to have a balance between saying nothing and just allowing this to happen and going full Mr. Reed.
Yeah, I guess.
You got to have a balance there somewhere.
I don't know.
And you do, I mean, I'm all for being respectful for the way people choose to live and the things people choose to believe, as long as it's not hurting anybody else or affecting anybody else. You believe whatever you want, but when it comes to forcing everybody to learn that, that's too far.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree, but I also don't completely buy that you should show everybody's beliefs respect. Like, yes, respect the person, but it doesn't matter. Like, if the belief is horseshit, then you need to call it out as horseshit.
Yeah, you can definitely call it out. Yeah. But they could still believe it.
Yeah.
Because anybody could say anything's horseshit.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I just, for a long time, I did feel that way, where I felt like, well, everybody has their own beliefs, and they're all, respect everybody's beliefs. Whatever they think is true to them, that kind of thing. And I've kind of come to despise that notion of, like, true to me. It's like, that's horseshit. Some things have evidence that can lead you to believe they're true, and some things don't. And you don't just get to assert something is true when you have no evidence for it. That's called lying.
No, yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You do not need to concede and say, well, okay, this is true because you think it's true. No, absolutely not. But you definitely have to have some level of respect.
Yes.
For the person.
You should respect people, because you don't become a part of a cult. Well, I was going to say willingly, but yes, people do willingly become parts of cults. I guess what I'm saying is, like, you don't, like, actually believe this shit. Like, unless you are extremely gullible, ignorant, or malicious. And, like, the gullible and the ignorant should not be lumped into those that are just trying to manipulate others.
Yeah.
Intentionally.
I also feel like, I forgot what I was going to say. I don't remember what I was gonna say.
And you can't discredit the fact that, like, once you're fully ensconced in a culture where this kind of talk, Jesus talk, religious talk is ubiquitous, like, whenever it's, like, just part of your everyday life, I mean, that helps, like, I don't know, normalize these things where you're not even thinking about it. You're not even thinking about the Adam and Eve story. You conceptualize it as one symbol of Adam and Eve eating the apple. It's a symbol for whatever, original sin, or it's a symbol for the creation of man, like, or a symbol for God's perfect Eden. Like, it's not actually the story. It's just a big parable in your mind. Whenever you see those things, it's a shorthand for a certain belief system, and you don't take the time to actually, like, think about its validity. It's brainwashing.
I feel like most people don't think that deeply about it. It's just...
Yeah. Yeah, it's just
It's
part
just
of
what they
their,
grew up with.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
part of their indoctrination.
Mhm.
Indoctrinization.
I mean, I suppose it's similar to we still in a way celebrate Christmas,
Oh, for sure.
and it's just kind of the same thing. I mean, they're just a step further than that, you know?
Kind of. Because I've said this before to friends of mine, where I don't think that, like, the problems I have with religion are not traditions or rituals or like certain like practices to enrich your morals or whatever. Like, I don't have a problem with forgiveness and gift giving and loving your neighbor, and like all that stuff is great. Like praying and being thankful for what you have, like all that stuff is fine. It's pretty much just the lying that I have a problem with. Like,
Lying and manipulation.
yeah. And, trying to put your nonsensical beliefs into our government institutions.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, what do you believe of, or not what do you believe? What do you remember about? Let's just do like a whole, like, you don't have to go over last episode, but like, what was the big takeaways from Samuel 1 from 1 Samuel?
Big takeaways.
Big takeaways. Like, what was the story about? Like,
it was basically the time in which, what was his name?
Saul?
Saul was king.
Yeah, it's pretty much
And,
Saul's story.
Yeah, pretty much Saul and them in different battles.
Yeah.
Did they really get land or anything? Like, what came out of those battles? Really anything?
No, I mean, they're just holding back the Philistines.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess, yes, they did chase the Philistines out of parts of Israel, but I think there's still a problem. Like, they were still fighting them in this last chapter we did.
Yeah.
Um,
Did Saul die?
Yeah, Saul died.
Okay.
Saul got shot with arrows,
Mhm.
and then he killed himself.
I feel like Saul was kind of a guy that was filled with hate, right?
Yes. Like, there's definitely a duality between Saul and David throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
So whereas Saul was like kind of jealous, like whenever the people like would praise David, he'd get all mad. Like he'd say, "Oh, Saul only won 1,000 battles or 100 battles, but David won thousands."
Yeah.
Saul would get all mad and chase David all around the country and throw his spear at him.
Damn spear.
Whereas David, when he had the upper hand, he was always gracious. He'd always, he'd have the opportunity to kill Saul, but let him live. So I definitely feel like this story is kind of setting up like what it means to be a good leader and what it means to be a bad leader.
Yeah.
So Saul was chosen. I don't know was he chosen by God to be king?
I think so. I don't remember.
Remember
the steps in it.
Samuel being the little altar boy and anointing Saul.
Did God tell Samuel to make Saul king?
Don't remember.
I don't remember that.
But anyway, should have been called Saul instead of Samuel 1. Samuel didn't really play a part in it.
No.
But I guess Saul, I mean, he didn't really do much with the church. He kind of ignored it, did his own thing. I mean, he still made that sacrifice to God himself, and that was like his big fall from grace.
Yeah, but he felt pretty detached from it most of the time.
I thought so too. Whereas, David, on the other hand, he's another like Samson-like character who seems like divinely inspired.
Yeah.
So Samuel 2, where we left with kind of a cliffhanger where Saul is dead. Daniel's off with his friend fighting the Philistines. He just recovered his wives. And I guess the Samuel 2, my guess, will be him becoming king.
Yeah.
Like how that happens. It's probably going to happen in like the first sentence. But
And he's king.
and he's king. But what we all really want to know is like
When
Zombie Samuel.
or Samuel coming back. Yeah.
Because
I always love
We
a
got
good dystopian novel.
A whole book named after somebody who's dead. So, very cool. All right. The second book of Samuel, chapter 1. Now it came to pass after the death of Saul, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Amalekites, and David had abode 2 days in Ziklag. It came even to pass on the 3rd day that, behold, a man came out of the camp from Saul with his clothes rent, and earth upon his head. And so it was, when he came to David, that he fell to the earth, and did obeisance. And David said unto him, From whence comest thou? And he said unto him, Out of the camp of Israel am I escaped. And David said unto him, How went the matter? I pray thee, tell me. And he answered, That the people are fled from the battle, and many of the people are also fallen and dead. And Saul and Jonathan his son are dead also. Oh, yeah, I forgot that Jonathan died. That's sad. I like Jonathan. Jonathan was cool. And David said unto the young man that told him, How knowest thou that Saul and Jonathan his son be dead? And the young man that told him said, As I happened by chance upon Mount Gilboa, behold, Saul leaned upon his spear, and lo, the chariots and horsemen followed hard after him. And when he looked behind him, he saw me, and called unto me, and I answered, Here am I. He said unto me, Who art thou? And I answered him, I am an Amalekite. He said unto me again, Stand, I pray thee, upon me, and slay me, for anguish is come upon me, because my life is yet whole in me. So I stood upon him, and slew him, because I was sure that he could not live after that he was fallen. And I took the crown that was upon his head, and the bracelet that was on his arm, and have brought them hither unto my lord. Well, that's a contradiction.
That's not what happens.
That's not what happened. It says just like, here, it's on the same page, right above. Saul said unto his armor-bearer, Draw thy sword, and thrust me through therewith, lest these uncircumcised come and thrust me through, and abuse me. But his armor-bearer would not, for he was sore afraid. Therefore Saul took the sword and fell upon it. All right, so...
He just didn't want to admit he didn't have the guts to do it.
I guess.
This is the most realistic thing, though, ever, where one thing happens, and then the person goes and says something else happened.
Okay, so you think that this Amalekite is lying?
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was just a contradiction that the two authors of Samuel 1 and Samuel 2 weren't the same.
Oh, sure. That's probably definitely what happened, but,
Yeah. Okay.
In the story context.
Yeah, we'll take
Kid's just lying. You don't want to seem weak.
True. Then David took on his clothes, and rent them, and likewise all the men that were with him. And they mourned and wept and fasted until even, for Saul, and for Jonathan his son, and for the people of the Lord, and for the house of Israel, because they were fallen by the sword. Yeah, David's not sad that Saul's gone. David is mourning for Jonathan.
Yeah.
I thought... And David said unto the young man that told him, Whence art thou? And he answered, I am the son of a stranger, an Amalekite. And David said unto him, How wast thou not afraid to stretch forth thine hand to destroy the Lord's anointed? And David called one of the young men and said, Go near and fall upon him. And he smote him that he died. Okay. He shouldn't have lied. He should have told the truth that he didn't kill him.
Yeah.
And David said unto him, Thy blood be upon thy head, for thy mouth has testified against thee, saying, I have slain the Lord's anointed. And David lamented with his lamentation over Saul and over Jonathan his son. Also he bade them teach the children of Judah to use the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher.
What?
That was a little parenthetical? I don't know. Where is the book of Jasher? I've never heard of the book of Jasher.
This is just like little aside. Like while he was mourning, he also taught all the little boys how to use a bow and arrow.
I guess. There is no Book of Jasher. Maybe that's like a Dead Sea Scroll or something. Interesting.
Is that what he's using a bow? Like bow and arrow, right?
Yeah, he had them teach all the children to use the bow.
All right.
The beauty of Israel is slain upon thy high places. How are the mighty fallen? That's a popular quote.
Mm-hmm. Is this the origin?
I'm guessing. How are the mighty fallen? Yeah, that's a good point to. We were talking the other day about how these stories, like one of the big reasons we're doing this is because the Bible has infiltrated so much of art and culture that it's fun to look for representations of these stories in other works of literature. And I don't really know any from, other than David and Goliath. David and Goliath obviously is like all over art and literature and everything. But I guess the story of Saul, the unworthy king, is too. But I don't know if that's specific to this story. I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't really see like the influence of Saul's story in much of literature, but maybe I'm wrong.
None that I can think of off the top of my head, but I feel like that.
Other than the fact that we spent like an entire episode racking our brains trying to think of that one, giving David a impossible task to go achieve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the idea of like a king or anybody that's in a position of leadership still being mostly normal, except for like one person that they feel like is just, on the cusp of coming and taking all their power away from them.
Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty
becoming
prominent.
Like obsessive, jealous, and
and the other person, like everybody loves them.
I'm sure there's probably a Shakespeare play that's built all around this. I just don't know which one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The beauty of Israel is slain upon thy high places. How are the mighty fallen? Tell it not in Gath. Publish it not in the streets of Ashkelon, lest the daughters of the Philistines rejoice, lest the daughters of the uncircumcised triumph. Ye mountains of Gilboa, let there be no dew, neither let there be rain upon you, nor the fields of offerings. For there the shield of the mighty is vilely cast away, the shield of Saul, as though he had not been anointed with oil. From the blood of the slain, from the fat of the mighty, the bow of Jonathan turned not back, and the sword of Saul returned not empty. Saul and Jonathan were lovely and pleasant in their lives, and in their death they were not divided. They were swifter than eagles. They were stronger than lions.
Okay.
This is pretty great. This is like a whole eulogy.
Yeah.
That David's doing. Ye daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed ye in scarlet, and other delights, who put on ornaments of gold upon your apparel. How are the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle? O Jonathan, thou wast slain in thine high places. I am distressed for thee, my brother Jonathan. Very pleasant hast thou been unto me. Thy love to me was wonderful, passing the love of women. Yep. How are the mighty fallen, and the weapons of war perished? That's so sweet. I think it's cool that David is just like openly lamenting his love for Jonathan.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Chapter 2. What are you doing?
I was looking modern stories of Saul.
Chapter 2. And it came to pass after this that David inquired of the Lord, saying, Shall I go up into any of the cities of Judah? And the Lord said unto him,
Go up.
And David said, Whither shall I go up? And he said,
Unto Hebron.
So David went up thither, and his 2 wives also, Ahinoam the Jezreelitess, and Abigail Nabal's wife, the Carmelite. And his men that were with him did David bring up, every man with his household, and they dwelt in the cities of Hebron. And the men of Judah came, and there they anointed David king over the house of Judah. And they told David, saying, that the men of Jabesh Gilead were they that buried Saul. And David sent messengers unto the men of Jabesh Gilead, and said unto them, Blessed be ye of the Lord, that ye have showed this kindness unto your Lord, even unto Saul, and have buried him. And now the Lord show kindness and truth unto you, and I will also requite you this kindness, because ye have done this thing. Therefore, now let your hands be strengthened, and be ye valiant, for your master Saul is dead, and also the house of Judah have appointed me king over them. But Abner the son of Ner, captain of Saul's host, took Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, and brought him over to Mahanaim, and made him king over Gilead, and over the Asherites, and over Jezreel, and over Ephraim, and over Benjamin, and over all Israel. Ishbosheth, Saul's son, was 40 years old when he began to reign over Israel, and reigned 2 years. But the house of Judah followed David. And the time that David was king in Hebron over the house of Judah was 7 years and 6 months. And Abner the son of Ner, and the servants of Ishbosheth the son of Saul, went out from Mahanaim to Gibeon. And Joab the son of Zeruiah, and the servants of David, went out and met together by the pool of Gibeon, and they sat down, and one on the one side of the pool, and the other on the other side of the pool. And Abner said to Joab, Let the young men now arise, and play before us. And Joab said, Let them arise. And there arose and went over by number 12 of Benjamin, which pertained to Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, and 12 of the servants of David. And they caught every one his fellow by the head, and thrust his sword in his fellow's side. So they fell down together. Wherefore that place was called Helkath-haz-Zurim, which is in Gibeon.
What? Also, Abner sure does show up a lot.
Yeah, what's Abner's deal?
I don't know. He
He's
always in
like,
the background.
Yeah, he's the Dick Cheney of this situation. He's like the general that's like really in control of these people, these puppet kings. So I guess after Saul died, his son took over, and he's ruling everywhere except for Judah. David's ruling Judah, and they finally went to go meet. And instead of talk it out, they just said, all right, well, let's just do 12 of our guys versus 12 of your guys. And they all stabbed each other to death. So they all died. So we still don't have an answer. And there was a very sore battle that day, and Abner was beaten, and the men of Israel before the servants of David. And there were 3 sons of Zeruiah there, Joab and Abishai and Asael. And Asahel was light of foot and as a wild roe. And Asahel pursued after Abner, and in going he turned not to the right hand nor to the left from following Abner. Then Abner looked behind him and said, Art thou Asahel? And he answered, I am. And Abner said to him, Turn thee aside to thy right hand or to thy left, and lay thee hold on one of the young men, and take thee his armor. But Asahel would not turn aside from following him. And Abner said again to Asahel, Turn thee aside from following me. Wherefore should I smite thee to the ground? How then should I hold up my face to Joab thy brother? Howbeit he refused to turn aside. Wherefore Abner, with the hinder end of the spear, smote him under the 5th rib, that the spear came out behind him, and he fell down there, and died in the same place. And it came to pass that as many as came to the place where Asahel fell down and died stood still. And Joab also and Abishai pursued after Abner, and the sun went down when they were come to the hill of Ammah, that lieth before Giah, by the way of the wilderness of Gibeon. And the children of Benjamin gathered themselves together after Abner, and became one troop, and stood on the top of a hill. Then Abner called to Joab, and said, Shall the sword devour forever? Knowest thou not that it will be bitterness in the latter end? How long shall it be then, ere thou bid the people return from following their brethren? And Joab said, As God liveth, unless thou hadst spoken, surely then in the morning the people had gone up every one from following his brother. All right. So Joab blew a trumpet, and all the people stood still and pursued after Israel no more, neither fought they any more. And Abner and his men walked all that night through the plain, and passed over Jordan, and went through all Bithron, and they came to Mahanaim. And Joab returned from following Abner, and when he gathered all the people together, there lacked of David's servants 19 men, and Asahel. But the servants of David had smitten of Benjamin, and of Abner's men, so that 360 men died. And they took up Asahel, and buried him in the sepulchre of his father, which was in Bethlehem. And Joab and his men went all night, and they came to Hebron at break of day. All right, so we got some infighting. We got some power struggles. I'm not really sure why they're fighting, like, as far as David is concerned. Like, why is David just defending Judah from Abner and the Israelites, or is it the other way around?
I don't know. Are they all trying to fight for control? It doesn't really.
It's
what it seems like, but it doesn't really say that.
True, they're definitely fighting. I don't know what else they'd be fighting over other than the kingship.
Yeah. It doesn't really give their motivations, but
no, they just start chopping
obvious.
at each other.
Yeah.
I do like how, like, they're chasing Abner, through the wilderness, and he's like, "Hey, stop chasing me!" And the one guy's like, "No," and gets killed. And so then his two brothers come, and he's like, "Guys, quit chasing me!" And they're like, "All right." All right. Chapter 3. Now there was long war between the house of Saul and the house of David. But David waxed stronger and stronger, and the house of Saul waxed weaker and weaker.
Okay, who are these people that are the house of Saul? Because I thought all his sons died.
No, one of his sons took over. I can't remember his name. It's a weird name. Asahel? Asahel is the one. Yeah, but didn't it say his sons died and Saul won?
It did. It was him and all of his sons. All of his sons, including Jonathan.
Interesting.
Maybe these are like distant sons or grandchildren or something,
Yeah, maybe. And unto David were sons born in Hebron, and his firstborn was Amnon of Ahinoam the Jezreelitess, and his second Chileab of Abigail, the wife of Nabal the Carmelite, and the third Absalom, the son of Maacah, the daughter of Talmai, king of Geshur. Where did she come from?
I don't know.
And the fourth Adonijah, the son of Haggith, and the fifth Shephatiah, the son of Abital. And the sixth, every kid is from a different woman, from a different wife of David. And the sixth, Ithream, by Eglah, David's wife. These were born to David in Hebron. And it came to pass, while there was war between the house of Saul and the house of David, that Abner made himself strong for the house of Saul. And Saul had a concubine, whose name was Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah.
Rizpah?
Mm-hmm.
There should be some more babies named Rizpah.
Yeah, Rizpah, daughter of Aiah. And Ishbosheth said to Abner, Wherefore hast thou gone in unto my father's concubine? What? Who did?
Who said that? Who did? Who went into who?
Abner went in. unto Saul's concubine. And
wouldn't that be like his grandmother-in-law?
And Ishbosheth is mad about it. I guess Ishbosheth is one of Saul's sons, and he doesn't like that Abner's sleeping with his concubine. His daddy's concubine.
That's fair.
I guess.
Because Abner's...
Well, concubine's like your woman on the side, right?
Right.
So why does he care?
I don't know. It's still weird.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. Then was Abner very wroth for these words of Ishbosheth, and said, "Am I a dog's head?"
What?
It's a euphemism. I don't know.
No.
Am I a dog's head, which against Judah do show kindness this day unto the house of Saul thy father, to his brethren, and to his friends, and have not delivered thee into the hand of David, that thou chargest me today with a fault concerning this woman? So do God to Abner, and more also, except as the Lord hath sworn to David. Even so I do to him. Did you get any of that?
Nope.
So do God to Abner, and more also, except as the Lord hath sworn to David.
Who's
even
speaking?
so I do to him. I don't know. Just a second ago, it was Abner speaking, saying, "Am I a dog's head?"
Yeah.
A weird idiom. To translate the kingdom from the house of Saul, and to set up the throne of David over Israel and over Judah, from Dan even to Beersheba. Okay, so that was all Abner talking. Remember the general.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess he's getting in trouble for sleeping with Saul's concubine, and he's like, "Well, fuck you.
Yeah,
I'll just give
right?
the kingdom to David then. Like, y'all don't have any power here. I'm the real power. I'm Dick Cheney."
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
And he could not answer Abner a word again, because he feared him. And Abner sent messengers to David on his behalf, saying, "Who is the land?" Saying also, "Make thy league with me, and behold, my hand shall be with thee, to bring about all Israel unto thee." And he said, "Well, I will make a league with thee, but one thing I require of thee, that is, thou shalt not see my face, except thou first bring Michal, Saul's daughter, when thou comest to see my face." And David sent messengers to Ishbosheth, Saul's son, saying, "Deliver me my wife Michal, which I espoused to me for 100 foreskins of the Philistines."
Ew.
"I paid for that woman fair and square with these foreskins." And
Only 100?
Yeah, just 100. And Ishbosheth sent and took her from her husband, even from Phaltiel, the son of Laish. Well, this poor woman has like an actual husband, not just a foreskin husband. She gets dragged away. And her
Because
husband...
she didn't like... Did she like David or did she not? I don't remember.
I don't think it ever said anything about what she liked or didn't like. She's just property. And her husband went with her along, weeping behind her to Bahurim. Oh, that is so sad. Then said Abner unto him, "Go, return." And he returned. And Abner had communication with the elders of Israel, saying, "Ye sought for David in times past to be king over you. Now then do it. For the Lord hath spoken of David, saying, By the hand of my servant David I will save my people Israel out of the hand of the Philistines, and out of the hand of all their enemies." And Abner also spake in the ears of Benjamin. And Abner went also to speak in the ears of David in Hebron all that seemed good to Israel, and that seemed good to the whole house of Benjamin. So Abner came to David to Hebron, and 20 men with him. And David made Abner and the men that were with him a feast. And Abner said unto David, I will arise and go, and will gather all Israel unto my lord the king, and they may make a league with thee, and that thou mayest reign over all thine heart desireth. And David sent Abner away, and he went in peace. And behold, the servants of David and Joab came from pursuing a troop, and brought a great spoil with them. But Abner was not with David in Hebron, for he had sent him away, and he was gone in peace. When Joab and all the host that was with him were come, they told Joab, saying, Abner the son of Ner came to the king, and he hath sent him away, and he is gone in peace. Then Joab came to the king and said, What hast thou done? Behold, Abner came unto thee. Why is it that thou hast sent him away, and he is quite gone? Thou knowest Abner the son of Ner, that he came to deceive thee, and to know thy going out and thy coming in, and to know all that thou doest. And when Joab was come out from David, he sent messengers after Abner, which brought him again from the well of Sirah. But David knew it not. And when Abner was returned to Hebron, Joab took him aside in the gate to speak with him quietly, and smote him there under the 5th rib, that he died for the blood of Asahel his brother. Revenge.
Nice.
This is like when Dick Cheney got shot in the face when he was out hunting.
No, he shot his friend.
Oh. Got that story mixed up. And afterward, when David heard it, he said,
I and my kingdom are guiltless before the Lord forever, from the blood of Abner the son of Ner. Let it rest on the head of Joab, and on all his father's house. And let there not fail from the house of Joab one that hath an issue, or that is a leper, or that leaneth on a staff, or that falleth on a sword, or that lacketh bread.
So Joab and Abishai, his brother, slew Abner. Yeah, we knew that, because he had slain their brother. So Joab and Abishai, his brother, slew Abner because he had slain their brother, Asahel, at Gibeon in the battle. And David said to Joab and to all the people that were with him,
Rend your clothes, and gird you in sackcloth, and mourn before Abner.
And King David himself followed the bier. And they buried Abner in Hebron, and the king lifted up his voice and wept at the grave of Abner, and all the people wept. And the king lamented over Abner, and died. Died Abner as a fool dieth? We're getting some weird language here.
I feel like that was a little commentary.
It's got a question mark. It says, and the king lamented over Abner and said, Died Abner as a fool dieth? David's the king? Or David's not the king yet?
I mean, he's going to be the king.
I don't know if that was David or not. Because Abner was on his way to like collect Israel so that they would support David, but then Joab killed him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who's king. Asahel is still king? He's still alive, right?
Oh, I don't know. But I feel like David's just saying he was a fool. He allowed himself to be fooled and killed, and
Yeah.
he wasn't clever enough to stay alive, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. Died Abner as a fool dieth? Thy hands were not bound, nor thy feet put into fetters.
As a man falleth before wicked men, so fellest thou. And all the people wept again over him.
And when all the people came to cause David to eat meat, while it was yet day, David sware, saying,
So do God to me, and more also, if I taste bread or aught else till the sun be down.
And all the people took notice of it, and it pleased them, as whatsoever the king did pleased all the people. For all the people and all Israel understood that day that it was not of the king to slay Abner the son of Ner. And the king said unto his servants, Know ye not? And the king said unto his servants,
Know ye not that there is a prince and a great man fallen this day in Israel? And I am this day weak, though anointed king, and these men, the sons of Zuriah, be too hard for me. The Lord shall reward the doer of evil according to his wickedness.
Okay. So he fasted to show that, he was distraught at Abner's death, that it wasn't his doing.
Does it feel like he's trying to manipulate everybody to then go and attack the people that killed Abner?
they're definitely turning on. He's definitely like using them as scapegoats. Like whether he wanted them to do it or not is unclear, but he's definitely trying to make everybody believe that he had no part in it. And as a matter of fact, I'm not going to eat anything because I'm so sad that I'm had to become king this way.
Yeah. It definitely doesn't feel genuine.
Yeah. This reminds me of a story. I'm trying to think of which one. Oh, yeah. I just recently read Rosemary's Baby. And the main character, not Rosemary, but her husband makes like I guess he's not even really a main character. But anyway, Rosemary's husband makes a deal with the Satanists to like become like a famous actor. And so one of his colleagues goes blind. And so he gets the part, the big part that's going to make his career. And throughout the book, he's like, oh, yeah, I'm super happy, but, it's too bad that it had to come at the price of this young man just going randomly blind.
Yeah.
That's what this felt like to me.
Yeah.
All right, so David's king now. It's a good place to stop. Still no sign of Zombie Samuel. Not sure when he's going to show back up. But hopefully he will. I mean, it would be pretty silly for this to be called 2nd Samuel and like him never show up again.
I mean, he has to at least show up at the end to tell this story, right?
I guess so.
I mean, because that's the point, right? Whoever book it is, that's the person who's telling the story.
Not necessarily.
Right? No? Or that's the book who it's about?
I don't know. What was before this? Joshua? Judges? Ruth? Yeah, we don't know who did Judges and Ruth.
Yeah.
We don't know who told those
That's
stories.
True.
I think this is just anonymous authors now. I think the only author we knew was Moses, quote unquote. Yeah, so I don't know.
Okay.
All right. I got nothing. Stay dumb, everybody.